So we'll start with the Ravens. 9 picks. They are loaded, and more importantly, they have 7 picks in the first 4 rounds. So they have a ton of high picks and availability to address a lot of needs. Obviously, they went 14-2 last year, had the MVP at quarterback in Lamar Jackson. It's not too many positions that are a glaring weakness per se. But one on the defense, at least, they do need some linebacker help. They addressed their defensive line in free agency. They traded for Calais Campbell. They signed Derek Wolfe. So right now, at least, they're improving their defensive line. So you look at linebacker, probably the biggest weakness on their team. The late first-round pick, which is perfect because that's kind of an area that they maybe could be able to address this. And I would say probably with the other 2 needs they have, which we'll get to in a little bit, there's availability in later rounds to address these. So just for the first round, I would say if linebacker is available, go for it. And 2 guys, I think that would be perfect. LSU's Patrick Queen, or more importantly, Oklahoma's Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray, I see as a Darius Leonard twin, let's say, if, they call linebacker for the Colts. All-pros rookie year. He is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker, and really, he's a 2020 linebacker, meaning that, obviously, linebackers back in the day, and the Ravens know this well, guys like Ray Lewis, and on the outside, Terrell Suggs. But linebackers used to be these tough, huge, physical guys that, would be run stoppers, right? Blow up running backs, get to the quarterback. Now, with the game so vertical and going sideline to sideline with a lot of speed, you need linebackers more than anything else to be athletic, to be able to cover tight ends, cover running backs out of the backfield. And a guy like Kenneth Murray, again, similar to Darius Leonard, is perfect in this scenario in this 2020 league because he is fast, he's agile. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but his speed to where he can be versatile and cover linebackers, cover tight ends, but still come up, blitz the quarterback, stop the run. He is a prototypical current-day linebacker where he can really do it all. So to me, if there's an availability, when he's still on the board, this should be their best option for the number 1 for their first-round pick, I should say, late in the first round. Because the other 2 needs they have right now, wide receiver and offensive line, both are deep enough to where offensive line specifically, they're not going to get one of the 4 tackles, and really, they don't even need a tackle. They more need interior guard center help, right? They had their standout Marshall Yanda, right guard, retire, which is going to be a huge hole now for them to kind of figure out. And even still, the question marks on their team around center and guards they already have is not great. So there's always room for improvement. And obviously, if you watch them last year, they're very reliant on the run. NFL rushing record last year, they set. So obviously, that starts with the offensive line. So they need to kind of rebuild from the interior, give Lamar Jackson and these running backs some more holes to run through and to kind of build off that record year last year. Offensive line is definitely a huge addition. You already had John Harbaugh and their general manager, Eric DeCosta, basically come out and flat say they're going to draft an offensive lineman or 2. And you assume it's going to be either guard or center. And because they're not going to be up high getting a lot of, and at least I should say, a lot of the offensive linemen that are going to go in the first round and go early in the first round are tackles. Yeah, they're really the 4 big tackles that are going to go. Maybe in the first 10 or 15 picks. You have a chance at least to take a guard or a center project later on in the draft. So you don't have to really overreach in the first round to get, a center, because really outside of those 4 tackles, there's not many highly ranked offensive linemen that are going to go in the first round. So there's a chance in the later rounds, which again, when you have 7 picks in the first 4 rounds, is huge to get an offensive lineman, specifically guard or center. In their position, I think they could use an upgrade for wide receiver. Right? Last year, their leading receiver was Mark Andrews. Now, I understand that the Ravens offense is very different than your prototypical offense in 2020, right? Everyone is gearing towards passing the ball and throwing first. The Ravens reversed that. They ran the ball first, and they ran it extremely efficiently and effectively. So, again, like I said, set the NFL rushing record, and they went 14-2, mostly because of their ability to establish the run, which set up the pass. And they did draft a receiver last year in the first round, Hollywood Brown, who, when he was healthy, he was great. He was effective, but the issue is he couldn't stay healthy the whole time, and that really limited his effectiveness. And not to mention, he's a burner, which is fine. In that offense, sure, you can exploit defense down the field, but yet Lamar Jackson led the league with 36 touchdowns last year. He didn't have a healthy Hollywood Brown, and his leading receiver was Mark Andrews, again, the tight end. So you already have a passing game that's lethal, mostly because of the way they are able to run the ball. Now, if you can get a big body, solid receiver, which there is plenty of, you can get in the second or third round, you could pair him with Hollywood Brown, who goes deep, and Miles Boykin, who's really a possession receiver, who's, again, a big body that, again, as a rookie last year, coming in can get some more experience. Sure, the receiving core, if you add another youngster to an already young receiving core, won't get much in experience. And I think getting a possession receiver, someone that, is an easy target for Lamar Jackson to hit, I think will be a huge benefit and complement the receivers they already have in the wide receiver room. So at least that's what I would do. Go linebacker, first and foremost, really should be the priority, and then receiver and offensive line you can address in the middle, second, third, fourth round, which they have a ton of picks for. Let's go to the Bengals. They have 7 picks. Obviously, they have a number 1 overall pick. So one of the positions they need is quarterback. This is easy. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't even really listen to other offers. 2 words: Joe Burrow. That's it. There's no debate between Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa. There's no debate between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. There's no debate of trading back and trading, let's say, with the Dolphins or the Lions or whoever, Chargers, let's say, any team that wants a quarterback, that wants Joe Burrow. There's no even reason to overthink it. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. The Bengals need a quarterback. 2 words: Joe Burrow. Similar to the Ravens, they probably could use a linebacker, right? They, similarly to Baltimore, address their secondary and address their defensive line in free agency, which means they kind of left that linebacker position open to address in the draft. Maybe you can get an edge rusher who's a nice athlete to get the quarterback, another sideline linebacker. Like I said, there is plenty of room there for them to adjust to and to help them out. And especially having an early second-round pick, probably assume guys like Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, 2 guys, like I said, we prefer for the Ravens. If neither of them are there, maybe get linebacker Zach Braun out of Wisconsin. But there's enough, at least, linebacker depth to where they take their first overall pick with Joe Burrow, and they can address the linebacker early in the second round or early in the third round. And finally, offensive line. Yesterday, or I should say Monday's show, the theme was offensive line for a lot of teams. Patriots, the Dolphins especially, the Jets especially. And well, there's no glaring need, let's say, for the Bengals. I mean, they do get their first-round tackle they took last year in Jonah Williams. Missed all of last year. He's coming back. So now you solidify your left tackle position. But sort of like with the Ravens, like what I was saying, there's a great chance for some projects and some depth here that you can draft later on. Draft maybe a guy who's raw or maybe hasn't played a lot, but if you draft him in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round, you can kind of have him sit on the sidelines, learn, and you have to play with some high upside that maybe he's not ready to come in day 1 and start, but you can put him behind, some of the players you already have there and develop him. Because, like you said, offensive line is really the one position that you can never have enough of. The depth is always can be improved, and that's at least another angle or another area, I should say, the Bengals should absolutely go for, especially with taking a quarterback. First of all, Joe Burrow, you got to keep him upright. You cannot have these quarterbacks take hit after hit after hit. You don't want to keep using the same example with Andrew Luck, but you saw a guy who the Colts basically didn't look and didn't address the offensive line for the first 3, 4, 5 years of his career. That took a toll to where the offensive line was finally great, and they finally had an elite offensive line. He was too banged up, ready to keep playing. You do not want that with any draft pick you have. Continue to invest in the offensive line, which brings me to the Browns. They have 7 picks themselves, and their first pick at number 10 overall absolutely needs to be an offensive lineman, specifically an offensive tackle. You want to talk about what led to the downfall of the Browns last year, what led to the regression of Baker Mayfield after he had a great rookie year, especially second half of the rookie year. He had no time last year. The offensive line was very porous and did a poor job in protecting Baker Mayfield. Some of it was on him, but the offensive line did him no favors. You can address that. Like I said earlier, there are 4 main offensive tackles that will go early that you can have your pick of. Tristan Wirfs from Iowa, Andrew Thomas from Georgia, Mekhi Becton from Louisville, and Jedrick Wills Jr. from Alabama. Probably 1 or 2, I would say, depending on where teams have these guys ranked, because you could really make an argument for at least for Wirfs, Becton, and Wills that one of those guys, or depending on what team you are, could be the number 1. Those top 3 could shuffle. So theoretically, depending on what happens with the Giants, let's say, or the Jaguars are number 9, you can maybe have the pick of 2 or 3, depending on if teams trade up for a quarterback or not. But either way, out of these 4, can't go wrong with any of the 4. You got to take one. You have to give Baker Mayfield a chance, because you look at Nick Chubb, you look at Austin Hooper they just signed, they still have Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, weapons galore for Baker Mayfield to throw the ball to. You have to give him time to get the ball to these players. Offensive tackle, address the offensive line. Browns absolutely have to do that with the number 10 overall pick, and that should, if they take anyone but an offensive tackle, not good. Not good at all. Another team, really, all three teams so far that we're talking about here in the AFC North, need a linebacker. They cut Christian Kirksey. They lost Joe Schobert in free agency. So they didn't really do much to address two of those starters that they lost in free agency. And sort of like, what we're talking about here, obviously the big name guys, it's going to be too early to draft a Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen at number 10 overall. But there's some depth. You have a guy like Malik Harrison from Ohio State who's another athletic linebacker that could fit in well, obviously, in the state of Ohio. That helps as well. So there are some options in the second or third round you can draft to help yourself out and to address that position. And finally, I would go safety as well. Now, they did some work. They signed Carl Joseph. They signed Andrew Sendejo in free agency. I still would go safety in the middle round, second, third, fourth round. Brian's has some picks there. They're 7 overall again. I would take a chance at a young safety. I think, they're really starting to address their needs. They have some core pieces, whether it's Denzel Ward at corner. They have, obviously, Myles Garrett at defensive end. I think a nice safety, a young safety, a ball-hawking safety could be a great addition. Again, they have two guys that are nice stopgaps for now in Joseph and Sendejo, but you can definitely use that and upgrade that position for sure. And especially when you have so much already kind of set on the offensive side, it doesn't hurt to build depth on the defensive side. I think safety would be one of those nice depth pieces. So that will do it for the AFC North. Bengals, Joe Burrow. 2 words for them. Ravens can really use a linebacker, and the Browns desperately need an offensive tackle with their first-round pick. Do it. Don't overthink it. One of the 4 will definitely be there. Maybe 2 of the 4 tackles you can have your pick for. Be a big draft for Angie Barr, the new general manager, and Kevin Stefanski, the new head coach. No better way than addressing the biggest need on your team, that is offensive line.